Okay, it's recording again.
Okay. Other things that I've noticed the world changed since terrorism. When I was a kid, they always talked about wars, like the Vietnam War. It was all about wars. Now they talk about terrorism. With a war, at least you can go in and fight the enemy. You can take a bunch of troops in there and stop them. With terrorism, you can't do that because there's little groups here, little groups there. They try to recruit people over the internet worldwide to do little bombings here and there. It's a much tougher enemy to fight. And then you read about stupid Americans that want action and they'll go and join the terrorists, and you wonder what's going through their head. Then they wonder why when they get there bad things happen. But that's just a dad saying what a bunch of inexperienced people. Other things that have changed because of terrorism. At the end of the day, it's more of the same. Just a lot of hate and war and other things, and people give it a name. And that's just another excuse to take away freedoms and go after somebody.
Okay. So you already answered, what impact have you seen in the U.S.? How has terrorism impacted the economy?
Well, funny enough, war is very good for the economy. It's not very good for the morals or for the people's lives, but the economy likes it. For instance, a couple weeks ago when President Trump launched 30 missiles against Syria because they used chemical weapons on their civilians, and he saw videos of women and children foaming at the mouth and dying. He launched 30 missiles from a warship. Now those missiles are smart. He launched one every 2 minutes, and they went and hovered low below radar and swarmed until they all hit at the same time. Now these are sophisticated weapons, and each one of them costs over $1 million. So there's at least $30 million in one strike. Okay. Sadly enough, those $30 million were made by Raytheon, which employs good people to make these things, to design them and build them. So the people at Raytheon have good jobs because of war. And when they get money, they go spend it in their community, and their communities are better off. So, again, anytime you create jobs like that, it makes a difference. I have a friend who was telling me the other day, invest in Raytheon. The stock's been going up. And it's probably going to go up higher and higher because now we have Korea and others to deal with. And so that also impacts the economy and how I see it.
That makes sense. In my AVID class, we just had a guest speaker come who, she was a Marine, and, well, she is a Marine, and isn't Raytheon the thing that, like, tests missiles and stuff?
Yeah, they're a defense contractor.
Okay, she said that she worked with the building that's not far from our house where they test simulations.
They have high-tech advanced stuff like FLIR and other things that lets them see things on airplanes, from airplanes you couldn't be able to see. Like you can see heat from a human body from miles and miles away.
Whoa.
And so if you're hiding in the jungle or the desert and no one can see you, they can see you glowing in orange because of your heat signature.
Dang.
And then they can take you out. So you can't hide. And they've got really advanced satellite stuff they do there. But that's fine. They're on our side. But I'm telling you, wars are good for the economy. It's a well-known fact. The war is what some people say. It gets you out of depressions and other things. Some presidents actually would like to leverage for that, but I hope they wouldn't, because American lives are at stake. And as you know, I was a captain in the U.S. Air Force before you were born, and I was serving during Desert Storm. Desert Storm was just as annoying as terrorists, but we went in there, and the war was over in a couple days. They couldn't match our firepower.
Wow.
But now they've scattered, and now we have to take them out here and there because they're terrorists. So.
Darn. So my next question is, what does the war on terrorism mean to you?
What does it mean to me? It means to me that decent human society, people like you and me, go to church. Pause it, please.
When?
It's a battle between good and evil. Like I said, good people like you and me are the good guys, the bad guys, they joy in evil. When someone gets blown up or run over or killed, they're quick to take credit. Look at me, look what I did. I killed somebody, I caused terrorism. And it's always been, for the past over 100 years, America's mission to help spread freedom and democracy. And so when people are doing injustices, they're killing babies and they're hurting people, they're out killing people that don't need to be killed, all the way from World War II with the Jews and others. We've gone in there and said, this is wrong, we're going to stop this, we're going to stop it now. And that costs billions of dollars, actually. People are questioning that now. They said, why should the Americans be the policemen for the world? Well, the real reason is because we have so much resources here. So many millions of good people, good money. We can do it. These other countries are too small to keep up, especially against larger countries like Russia and China, and that are getting really, really big. So I look at it as a moral responsibility. But today's generation, people are even questioning that because they're like, what's in it for me?
That's sad. Do you think the current counterterrorism policies of the government and security services are effective in preventing terrorism?
I have no idea if they're effective. I know they're trying in their best of their abilities to prevent terrorism. But sometimes when you fan the flames, by talking about it so much, you glorify it, and then people want to join the cause. Sometimes when you take out an evil leader, a more evil one steps into this place behind him. So how do you guarantee any of that stuff? It's just, it's a desperate. You see how poor they are. You think, oh, let's give them food and money, and they'll be happy. Some of them are extremists. Has to do with their religion. Doesn't matter if their tummy's full at all. They're going to take revenge on whatever they feel is revenge. They'll kill because they get rewarded for it in heaven. Pause. If it's going to work, doesn't mean it works. In order for it to work, you have to have real metrics. You have to know be able to measure it and know whether it's changing or not. We operate under the assumption that if there's bad guys and you kill the bad guys, that once you kill the bad guys, it's all over. But this is a philosophy. And when bad guys die, there's new, younger bad guys coming back in their place to take it over. And you know what? This kind of stuff has been going on for thousands of years. And I really think the only way to solve this is not killing bad guys, but to educate them and change values. So people are all treated fairly and equally. They treat women over in that part of the world like they're not even citizens, like they're property. Just like we would treat African Americans like property. We would treat African Americans like property. Hey, stop it. Over 100 years ago, that's how they treat women today. And it's disgusting. And Americans don't go for that. So there's a lot of cultural changes that are going on.
Okay.
Stop. Can you start over? I don't know what question.
Yes. What is your opinion on gun control and terrorism? I think we already know your opinion on terrorism. It's disgusting.
Okay.
So what's your opinion on gun control?
My opinion on gun control is guns don't kill people. People kill people. Just like my opinion on forks. Forks don't cause obesity. It's the people putting forks in food and putting it in their mouth cause obesity. Fire, you're attacking the wrong thing. Yes, you'll prevent some gun deaths, especially with kids that'll find their parents' guns and play cops and robbers and they'll die. For real. That's terrible. That's why there's gun safes and gun locks. But I think the founding fathers were right when they gave us the right to bear arms. Because if you're a responsible citizen with a gun, in a way you're an extension of the police force. You're there to help protect the other citizens because the police cannot be everywhere all the time. Now, you're not a policeman. You don't have the right to go around shooting everybody. But I feel that if you're responsible and have some training, you should have guns. I think it deters crime. And if you look at the statistics, wherever there is lots of guns ownership, the crime rate is much lower. Wherever they've taken away the guns, the crime rate's much higher. So you would think it's like terrorism. If you take away all the guns, there'll be no more killing. Well, if you kill all the bad guys, new ones come back. If you take away a gun, I'm going to get a 3D printer and I'm going to print one out from something I downloaded, and I'll still have a gun. You can't take them away. You can try, and you can take them away from people that are mentally ill or felons and stuff, and that's okay.
Okay, thank you. Do you think that racial profiling is an important part of counter-terrorist activities?
Of course. Of course, there's no question. You have to do it, even if you don't call it racial profiling.
Okay.
Because you're going to find people that are more likely to be, based on their race and their religion, you're going to find people that are much more likely to be one thing versus another. You're not going to catch them all, but you're going to be more likely. So no matter what anyone says, there is profiling going around everywhere. You have no choice. I'm profiled as I travel. I have a trusted traveler card.
No parking.
So as a traveler, I have a trusted traveler card that says I've been profiled as someone that can be trusted. I'm an American citizen. I've been interviewed by an agent. I've got my fingerprints taken and other things. Okay, that's part of it. But as they get more and more terrorist activities, they have video and they can see who these terrorists are and what they look like and what they are, and they can try to get 90% of them. They're not going to catch the mom with kids in San Bernardino, and they're not going to catch the fringe cases, but they're going to catch the 9/11 type ones where a bunch of guys, 19 guys, go take out four airplanes and bring down the country.
That makes sense. Thank you. And my last question for you is, how has terrorism impacted our civil rights? Well, I guess you already talked about that with like gun control and less freedom in the airport. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, the real answer is after 9/11, the legislators of the Congress and Senate were quick to pass the Patriot Act. And they thought if they put a fancy name on it, everyone would like it. The word Patriot Act might as well be termed the Freedom to Spy on America Act. And that's all it is. They have the freedom to spy, to wiretap, to do all these other things against Americans without a warrant. And they do this in the name of catching terrorism. And so, whether we like it or not, we've given up or lost a lot of rights. And they passed it for a shorter period of time, and then they've extended it. But just because you call it the word Patriot Act, whenever they give it a fun, nice name like that, my ears both go up really high to listen, because they're trying to disguise something that's wrong as to something that's nice. So that one's part of it. It's everywhere, and you'll hear it in the news every day.
Thank you, and thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Dad.
You're welcome, Heather.